Andrea Kay with The Confident Woman. We're back. Talk about shame and guilt. Guilt is a feeling of responsibility or remorse for an offense, a crime, a wrong, whether real or imagined. And I like how it says real or imagined, because a lot of people, us ourselves, are imagining that we're bad people, or others are putting that on us that we're bad people, but it's really just imagined.
Right, it's not true.
Yeah.
So basically, so shame and guilt can come from other people, right? That's what you're saying, and it can be imagined. And basically, like we've talked about in other videos, watch our other videos on self-love, watch our other videos on boundaries, because that ties into this as well, is like learning where to have people in your life and learning about loving yourself, because then shame and guilt won't have the same effect on you.
Yeah.
So where does shame and guilt come from? It can come from yourself, it can come from others, it can come from belief systems of your past, of your family history, of dysfunctionalism. It can come from unforgiveness. It can come from holding grudges against people that you think have wronged you. And it can come from holding grudges and resentment towards yourself, and holding yourself in shame and guilt from, you know, your past, what you consider failures or mistakes or bad choices.
Yeah.
That's what it is to me, anyway.
Yeah, me too. And I think another shame and guilt is, so being what others want us to be, that's us being shamed and guilted into becoming something for others. So say, for an example, would be, I don't like when your hair's that color. You know, I feel like you look mean, or they're guilting you to change your hair. They're shaming you.
Or when parents say, you know, I thought you were going to be a doctor. What do you mean you're going to be an architect? You were supposed to be a doctor. Everybody in this family goes to med school. Like, that's a family belief system that they can guilt trip you into what they want you to do.
Yeah, and then you're living for others. You're not even living for yourself. How do you respond to shame and guilt? Or not respond?
For me, like, shame and guilt was a huge problem in my life. But that was, a lot of that kind of went away as I worked through self-love and self-care and loving myself and really not caring what anybody else wants me to be. And knowing who I am and living for me and living my best life, you just naturally, it's kind of like the shame and guilt of stuff that people put on me just kind of fell off.
I think how I respond to shame and guilt, at first I responded to it instead of not responding at all. I would listen to what people said, and I would hold that in, and I would believe it, just let it go. So I think I learned to have a voice in it, even if it's to yourself, or even if it's to others.
So all things work for your good, no matter what you believe in. All things work for your good. There's no such thing as mistakes.
Yep.
Let go of shame and guilt. It's not going to be done overnight, just like self-love and boundaries. It's going to take work. I mean, you have to program the way you're talking to yourself and thinking in order to let go of shame and guilt.
I heard a lot when it came to shame and guilt in my own head and from others. The word change came to mind. They want you to change, or we want to change ourselves. Well, what I like to tell myself is, you know what, I'll change when it's meant to be. I'm not opposed to change at all, because I believe strongly in change, and I'm all about it and always progressing to be a better person. But it will happen in the perfect timing, and it will happen when it's supposed to and how it's supposed to. It's not just going to be like, bam, shame and guilt did it. It's not shame and guilt didn't do it.
When somebody's putting shame and guilt on us, it's really a reflection. It's like a mirror. So and I've done it. Oh my gosh, have I done it? So when somebody's shaming and guilting you, it's not really because something is wrong with you. It's because there's something in them that they're reflecting and projecting back. So, you know, really, if somebody's shaming and guilting you, that's a them issue, not a you issue. Really, what I want to focus on today, what I think is what we do have control of, is us not shaming, guilting ourselves and others. We don't have control of other people.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to deal with all kinds of people in this world. But make sure that we're letting go of our own shame and guilt, our own hurts, our own pain, our own struggles, our own... We took a little break there, and we're coming back now to talk about shame and guilt more here. And so one thing I don't think we touched on yet is, how did it affect you? How do you think, like, I know how it affected me. How did it affect you, shame and guilt?
I tried to change who I was. I try to be someone else. It made me down. It didn't fulfill me at all. How have you overcome it?
Yeah, it's because there's so much on this topic, you guys. This is such a heavy topic. I think we might have to do part 2.
Yeah.
I've overcome shame and guilt by really working on myself because, as I said, other people, no matter where it's coming from, if a person is shaming you, guilt tripping you, or if you're shaming and guilting yourself over past choices, shame and guilt is the same feeling.
Yeah.
It's the same feeling. And for me, how it affected me is it brings a lack of self-worth and self-esteem. It makes you feel sad and down. It makes you feel just less than because you're not living up to some standard, whether it's your own, whether it's your dad's, whether it's the world's and society. So basically, learning to love myself.
Yeah.
Learning to love myself, learning to put me first, knowing I matter, knowing that nobody's opinion is more important about me than my own. And just also, just when I learn to love myself, I learn to forgive myself.
Yeah.
When I learn to forgive myself, I learn to love and forgive others.
Yeah.
And when I learn to forgive others, I let go of past resentments. Because when you forgive, you let go of past resentments.
Yeah.
And the one thing that really helped me is to realize that me and everybody else and you and just the whole world, we're all doing the best we can with what we know at the time.
Yeah.
So if we really embrace that, it kind of throws resentment and grudges out the window.
Yeah.
And when we throw our resentment and grudges for ourselves out the window and for others out the window, shame and guilt kind of just trickles out the window too.
Yeah.
You know? So I guess just forgiveness. That's how I overcame it. Loving myself and forgiving myself and others. What about you? How did you overcome it?
Yeah, living in my truest self. I really took a break from people who I felt projected that upon me